Yes, please.
Yeah.
Yes, Vidya, you can begin.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay, great. Good afternoon, welcome everyone. I'm Vidya, I'm from Sensing Local, and I would just like to take a minute to talk about the competition, the jurors, and the site that we have. So starting with Urban Revamp itself. So we have, conceived this design challenge as a way to invite proposals from architects and urban designers across, the country to make sure that we can improve public spaces through participatory planning. And in this edition of the Urban Revamp Challenge, we have two sites, and this is the Padarayanapura site, where we've had 55 registrations, of which 4 have been shortlisted. We have actually the competition itself is partnered with we are partnering with VILAC, and this is under the Sustainable Mobility Network, and we are supported by the Institute of Urban Designers India. Our community partner is Curiosity Alliance Foundation, an organization that's predominantly working with the residents and the community members of Padarayanapura towards awareness and safety against drug usage and many other such issues that are happening in the neighborhood. So for today's jury panel, I'd like to take a minute to introduce all of us present here. So we have Hemalata ma'am, who is the present SE of the projects department in BBMP. She is responsible for a lot of infrastructure projects across Bangalore, such as Tendershire roads, white topping, grade separators, junction improvements. And before this, she was part of the solid waste management department, and she has worked and anchored a lot of solid waste managements across the city. Next, we have Mr. Satya Prakash Varnashi, who is a celebrated architect, and he has over 30 years experience with just architecture, urban design, as well as heritage conservation. And he's the founder of Satya Consultants and a founding member of IUDI. We have Chetan Sudaya here, who is also a senior urban designer and researcher. He's a senior program associate with WRI. And his current research focuses on improving road safety and making better urban design and placemaking strategies. And he works closely with city authorities while implementing these. We have Naveen Mahantesh here, who is the founder of NMAD. His practice lies at the intersection of art, architecture, and the city. And he's involved in creative research with a love for urban life. And finally, we have Asobia Rafiq, who is the co-founder of Sensing Local and has over 10 years of experience as an urban planner. She has anchored various innovative projects with respect to sustainable mobility, waste management, public space design, and water management. Now, to get into the agenda for the jury, we will be first going into the site and context setting, and then we will have our presentations. So to understand the site, our site is situated in Padarayanapura, and the ward is 168, and we have the main excuse me. So the JJR Nagar bus stop and police station is at the close vicinity of the site. The site itself is an organic a public square where you have intersections of multiple neighborhood residents coming here for getting onto the bus stops, as well as going to the BBMP school that's around. So you have people from Goripalya, people from Jagjeevan Ramnagar, from Padarayanapura itself, and from Chamrajpet, and a lot of different neighborhood areas that actually visit this particular site. We have a few key anchoring landmarks around the site that basically they shape how the space is being used. We have the Indra Canteen that's already present over here, where a lot of people come here during the daytime. We have the PU College, as well as the police station in close proximity to that, where you have a lot of activity again happening during the daytime over here. There's a park that is one of the few open spaces across the neighborhood itself. A lot of the kids from the neighborhood actually use this as their only relief, and a lot of the older people who reside within the neighborhood also use this space. And we have the main bus stop here, which, as I mentioned earlier, is one of the few bus stops, and it anchors a lot of different movement across the two different parts of the city from this particular point. So these are some views of the site, and we get into what are our insights from the participatory workshops. We have had a bunch of community residents from the area talking to us about different issues that happen, that are prevalent in the site. So some of the main issues that were identified were the haphazard parking, garbage dumping, yellow spots, lack of footpath, and speeding that happens across the Hosali main road, as well as this space where the bus actually comes to take a U-turn before it leaves the site. So that is a particular issue that had to be solved. Next, the priorities that they identified from the issues was that they wanted the unprogrammed parking, the garbage dumping, and the speeding to be solved first. We also did activity mapping on the site, where we try to understand what are the major activities that happen across the site. So a lot of children go to the BBMP park that's in the vicinity, and they have to actually cross the main road intersection over there, which is very unsafe for children to cross. So that is one activity. The next is within the site itself, there are lots of vending stalls. So the vending stalls also create a lot of footfall within the square. And apart from that, a lot of shopping happens in this site. Some of the questions that we asked the residents in Padarayanapura were what they really enjoyed about the space and what were things that they would like to change and what their vision for the future was. So a lot of the people really liked that it was a very active and a vibrant space that had a lot of mixed use and different people from different age groups using the space. But at the same time, they wanted the space to be, streamlined and better traffic management, better parking, streamlined bus movement, and clean public toilets and maintenance and illumination and all of those infrastructure developments. So now we can get on to the design presentations. I would like to remind all the participants that they have 10 minutes to present their designs, followed by a Q&A session for 10 minutes. I'll now stop sharing my screen.
Vidya, if you can just check on the Excels if all the jurors have also been able to access that. The scoring Excels.
Sure.
So we can get started with the presentations.
Yeah, you can start off with the presentations, and maybe we'll all just take time and then either in between or towards the end to do the scoring.
Sure. Yes. Team 290655. You can get started.
Yeah, I need the screen control.
Yes, your screen is visible.
Our concept is plug and play. We'll go through a few images that we have selected that shows how we read the existing situation at Padarayanapura. Okay. So this is an illustration from Anwar Alam. It's a very simple urban space. Even the architecture that is surrounding an urban space or a courtyard is also simple with column and beam structure, skin of wall, doors and punchers. So now when we look at these kind of spaces, what we see here is different age groups, different gender and different profession, different caste, creed, everything. And then people are appropriating that space, and it's always non-hierarchical. So when why we are showing this space is that we read the design and the space people around it to be non-hierarchical. What we mean by this is we as a designer tend to place a structure in place and let people appropriate that space. So that becomes the design. So we don't intend to have like a closed space, dictatorial spaces that a mono type spaces that this is gallery or this is a shop or anything. So we would like to place a structure and let people use that structure. So when we go further, we have selected a picture from B.V. Doshi's prescribed price citation, and we very much agree with Mr. Doshi's reading of the space through his sketches. 1 minute, I'm just waiting for the screen to change. Yeah. So what we see and what we hear, Doshi speaking the street as a bazaar, and the architecture is, or the urban space is almost in the background, means the structured space is in the background, but we have to be very careful that the space, the structured space is not like it is non-existent. There is a structure, but it is more appropriated by people like a bottom-up approach. Okay. This we believe comes from our ideology of storytelling, and our stories, when we refer to Chandamama or Amar Chitrakatha, it's always been non-hierarchical, and it goes to children. Those same moral stories can be taken to adults, and the same can be used as a wisdom for the aged people. So when we extrapolate our upbringing as a society or as a children with the stories that we hear, and when we extrapolate these stories to Bhagavad Gita, which does the same thing, means you can tell the Bhagavad Gita as a single story to a child. You can use the Bhagavad Gita as a guiding tool for the adult, and Bhagavad Gita has wisdom for the aged. So what we mean to say is, when Charles Correa gave an example of the banyan tree, that it is so majestic, and yet it allows very innocent young kids to fool around. So these are the spaces, the kind of spaces that we intend to have and provide in this in Padarayanapura. Next is the plan. And we also intend to be neutral in design.
Yeah. Thank you. Yes. After considering this existing plan and the movement, traffic movement, and the conditions over there, we try to allow the pedestrian movement and the vehicular movement as it is, and something called like tactile urbanism is what we tend to do with the ground floors and existing structure to preserve them and to have a strength above it and have a central access to that. And the design intervention being like a public open gallery, which is flexible enough, and also having 3 or 4 different levels connecting to the ground, which provides an elevated space, which gives visual connect and green spaces around the structure. So coming to ground floor plan, so this is we tend to keep all the existing structures is what you can see, and looking at this, we try to keep the pedestrian movement as shown, connecting the 3 different circles, and the bus turnaround is also being taken care, like a tabletop, and only the textures have been changed. So we have given retained the spaces for all the existing activities, and the design approach was also for all the communities who live surrounding, and surveillance was also taken care so that the structure is slightly elevated. Use of dustbins and use of the structures for the existing school, BBMP school was also taken care. So I would like to point out the Sodappa road. We come here, and these are the 2 drop off for the buses. the turn, and again a bus stop on the other side. So this drop-off acts as a central axis, which can divert to the other open spaces, BBMP Park and school. And also there is a drop-off for autos and pickup area. And through that central point, we can connect to the above level, which we call like platforms. So coming to the platform by itself, so what kind of activities we will be able to do, like temporary stalls and fairs can also be a part of it. Kids play area, an open space for that. And scissor lift can be something we can looking so that there can be existing temporary structures which can be dismantled and arranged. And since the crowd is also in such that they have the small scale industry, this can also be part of their work if it is movable and rentable as well, bringing new sources for income for BVMP as well. And the platform by itself can be used for sports club meeting, yoga decks, and also a reading club for older generations. So this is kind of a section showing the intervention, which is about the existing structure. This I just shown the ground floor and first floor for the reference. And bird's eye view showing the non-intuitive urban insert, keeping the existing structure and connecting to the ground. So this view from south, what you can see is the existing structures with the lift to the left, and the access to Indira canteen, toilets, and the Nandini is reserved. And the alternative possibilities is explained in the right side of the slide, which can be a huge structure or partial structures, temporary structures around the platform. And the view from north showing the bus drop off, and the right side here, these are the vendor shops which can be part of the structure below. So this frames is something what we are looking on, which shows like entrance frame, which can be act like a decorative form during any fest or events. We can create as a decorative member. And since it's a relief area for the existing area, if you see the busy area below, this is kind of platform which provides a relief statement for the entire surrounding. The spectrum of visual is something is what we look in the higher space. And we like to call it like a plug and play, where the deck can be used for any function. And we call it as platform for all. We have this small video showing the bird's eye view. Yes, thank you. So this is our proposal, and we are open for your Q&A, question and answer session.
Thanks, team. We can open it up to questions. I'd request the jury members to keep their questions direct and short in the interest of time.
Hi. Would you suggest maybe which juror should start first and then go in a sequence? It helps.
Sure, we'll do that.
The next participant, you can change the sequence.
Sure. Satya, you could begin.
This is a trouble because I said you're asking me. All right. Anyway. Okay. Question should be brief and direct. Okay. Group number 655. you seem to have definitely lived up to the word plug and play. So it looks more like a kind of an urban intervention, kind of an infill architecture. Congratulations on that, and also fairly good graphic skills. Look at the screen, it looks very impressive, and I'm sure BBMP would love to jump in and do this. Now, if you go through the briefing and also the public consultation, what they had pointed out, the people had pointed out as the deficiencies. There were issues of auto rickshaw parking, the garbage issues, the road crossing issues, the vendors issues, etc. In what way does this proposal address those issues? That's question number one. Secondly, there's already issues of road crossing and other things. And, looking at the evening, basically, I happened to see the Google map. I did not go to site and the street view. At certain time, I believe there is a lot of congestion there. So do you think your proposal will lead to increased congestion by hopefully attracting people to this platform, bringing them up and down? Or would it help in decongesting the overall context? So these were, there are a few more issues I have written down here. The technical feasibility of building over the existing canteen and Nandini, etc., etc. But anyway, that I'll keep it brief at that level. Amanath, you want to ask? We want to have all the other jurors comments and then.
No, it'll be great if they can just respond to your question.
Okay, then go ahead, then group. Yeah.
So, yes, sir. Regarding the existing conditions of garbage and vendors and the parking. So it's a city, it's a crowded area. We get to know that we are providing the shelters for vendors slightly organized within this setting. So regarding the parking, all advanced cities are moving towards using public transportation. So we'd like to create an ambience in such a way that it's more for pedestrian friendly and all the age group, rather than targeting only the automobiles. And regarding the waste management, yes, whenever we do an urban intervention, we definitely have to look into the waste collection centers like small dustbins in a few places. Apart from that, it will become all the 3 wards responsibility itself to create a system in such a way. Maybe we also try to make this plug and play platform also as an interactive method for BBMP with the society. It's what we can look at.
Okay, I'm done.
And regarding the structure, yes, there is challenging parts that can definitely be taken care. The idea is something which we really try to execute.
Thanks. Naveen, you could go next.
Yeah, am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah, so there are 2 parts to this or any urban design intervention. One is problem solving, another is value addition. In terms of problem solving, I'm sure there is always a way to address it, whether it be pedestrian crossing, parking, whatever. So I'll not address that part. I'll only purely concentrate on what the value addition is happening because of what you've inserted. Now, what is the value addition with this is something, it's a question mark for me, because if you're giving a platform as a destination, as a community place, it's detached from the ground. So I'm not sure how it will work. It would probably work if there was also a set of staircase that comes down and it also becomes a social space. Right now, you are having steps that go up, but steps in itself, especially in an Indian context, step itself becomes a destination. That's where people hang out. So where are they going when they go to the platform is kind of a question mark for me. So if it also comes down as a folding set of plates or something, I think that would add a lot more value. That porosity is important. Like you have to go and come. Right now, you have to go and come back is something where I think as a public space, as any public spaces, porosity is very important. such an example happens in Times Square Plaza, where it's just one-way steps that goes up. But that place is Times Square, so it works. So when you're up there, you get a beautiful view of the streets below. But here, what is the vantage point? What are we taking advantage of? There are a few question marks on, like, why? What is the value that's added because of the platform? That's where I'm kind of my observations lie. Your problem solving is fine. The autos and buses and all that, fine. In terms of value addition, whatever you're putting, even without that, you seem to have resolved the problems, which is already a big step. But whatever you put, I'm kind of questioning the value addition of it.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Naveen, for this question. Yes, I'd like to tell the relief in the ground level versus the first level, what we have created is it has a contrasting difference. What you see, the public autos or the bus stand and all the movement within this particular junction. So this island is about 6,000 square feet or 600 square meter, and we are adding around 4,000 square feet to above it. So this is an extra space where, as the name suggests, plug and play. It can be decided by the association members of the society as well. So
how do you see it differently from the pedestrian crossing that happens?
Sorry, I didn't get this. How do I see? Hello.
You're not audible, Naveen.
Hello.
Hello. What's the question again?
Naveen, could you repeat the question?
Maybe we can take it around if there are any other questions.
Or maybe we can move on to Hema.
Oh.
Hi, Hema, can you hear us?
Yeah. What is the carriageway that is coming there? Like, because I think there are a lot of shops presently there that has been occupied. After you redesign this, what is the width of the road that is coming there?
See, we are not changing anything. We actually checked with the existing survey plan. It's designed well for the bus turning radius. We have kept it the same, and we are not showing parking as the main importance in this design. The carriageway is this particular circle, which the bus turning radius is around 13 meters radius, which we are keeping it same. And even the bus stops after the bus being turned, it's been already taken care with the existing bus stop itself. We are proposing one more.
What I feel, after beyond that circle, there are a lot of vendors that they are occupied.
Correct.
So now they're moving then that the space that is there, like it's done for the pedestrian?
Yes, the space.
What is that width of that pedestrian that's coming?
This space?
Yeah.
We have around 3.5 meters there. Which we are addressing through this fractal urbanism, where we have different trends or the kind of zebra crossing, which is which gives a sense of impression for a pedestrian not to set up a stall or anything like that. They are trying to create a surface in the ground itself. So the space is more for pedestrians rather than the vendors.
Ethan, you could go next, and we have about a minute and a half left.
Okay, so I would like to ask two things. Most of it are covered anyways by the other jurors. First is when you are specifying that the bus route ends here. So how are we keeping pedestrians, as you're calling most of the pedestrians towards the island? How are we looking at keeping them safe? Because a lot of people will be crossing this, right? And buses have a lot of blind spots. So when they are around to move around at that corner, what you've talked about. That's one thing. And second thing, could you highlight more about the elements of surfaces, materials, if you can mention more about, so that we can know more about what experiential benefits would improve over there? Yeah.
Surface finishes is not the white topping is what I am trying to look around for the bus stop or the bus turning area. And for the other pedestrian movement, I'm sure right now the existing condition, they have bigger island over there near the turning area. So we have cut down on that so that the visibility is improved for the bus driver and also for the pedestrians. So if we are trying to avoid the vehicular parking and the vendor settlements there, then it will definitely add on. So by the material, what I say, just a paint and use of art in an urbanism, like for the ground heat itself is what I'm looking. Not like a zebra crossing, but yes, it will add on more value when you have the art installation part of it.
Thank you. We're out of time. We can move on to the next team now. Could you stop sharing?
Thank you.
Team 290677, you can go next, please.
Hi, is the screen visible?
Yes, it is.
May I begin?
Yes, please, go ahead.
Elarige Namaskara. Good evening, everyone. We are very grateful for this opportunity to present our vision for Padarayanapura to you today. Janara Vedike, or the People's Forum, is an attempt to build a ward-level identity through urban transformation. Padarayanapura is a ward of nearly 38,000 people, and over the years it has remained largely underserviced with respect to built environment and public infrastructure. For example, there's only one major bus shelter in the entire ward. Apart from these infrastructural shortcomings, the people in the ward have also seen negative connotations associated with their ward, which has significantly affected their relationships with the city. So when conditions of the built environment are impacting social relationships within the city, how can design be used to create a sense of identity? To build the identity of the neighborhood, we have looked at existing systems on site. As it was pointed out, the bus stop, being one of the few in the area, anchors the site and becomes a focal point for transport to and from the city. Public services like the police station, post office, are located at the junction, making it a nodal point for ward-level administrative activities as well. The junction attracts not only its residents, but also people from neighboring wards for recreation, shopping, and street food. Can we now leverage these existing systems to achieve a transformation? We propose the creation of a People's Forum, one that is a transit hub, a governance center, and a community space at the junction. Having identified these three networks, we have also looked at their individual challenges which need to be strengthened. A key concern hampering efficient mobility is an insufficient turning radius for buses and undefined intersection geometries. Apart from the primary mobility challenges, we have also identified those related to spaces for governance, like the disconnect between public buildings and inadequate waste collection systems. For community-related activities, we found that there was no designated vending zones, a large number of yellow spots, and dead spaces which were leading to illegal activities. Together, these have created a large undefined blacktop, which is unprogrammed, thereby leading to haphazard vehicular movement, encroachment, unsanitary spaces, and an overall uninclusive environment. Who does this space really belong to? And can we reclaim space back for the people? To build a public-centered junction, we have first adjusted the road widths, widened the connecting street, and created a larger turning radius for buses. Through this, we were able to reclaim spaces for a range of public activities. By ensuring appropriate traffic calming measures and clearly defining spaces for pedestrians and vehicles, our conflict area has now been transformed into a people-centric junction. This site will now become a nodal hub for neighboring wards. To achieve this, we have designed a scalable framework that attempts to connect, collaborate, and celebrate. Each of these systems is driven by core values that define its vision: connections to the city through a safe, accessible, and efficient network, collaborations through a participatory and equitable approach while increasing accountability, and celebration of a healthy, inclusive, and sustainable community. We begin with the mobility toolkit. The immediate interventions that affect mobility include on-ground elemental changes that can impact road safety and efficiency, like wayfinding signages and reclaiming space through tactical urbanism trials. Eventually, a change in value systems is required to create universal accessibility. And in the long term, we envision an integrated, sustainable system with technological advancements like NMT infrastructure, EV public transport, and tech-based parking management systems. Moving on to the governance toolkit. The short-term goal is to build accountability in the governance system by creating feedback mechanisms and a space for the people to come together. Gradually, to enhance equity in the spaces, we are trying to look at spaces for collaboration and ones that can connect important government offices. In the long term, this toolkit aims to leverage technology and city-level schemes to bring an identity to the ward and put it on the map of the city. And lastly, the community toolkit. To create a healthy community, we can begin by strengthening the existing community activities like food vending and recreation. We can then look at creating newer community spaces that are inclusive and diverse. And the eventual goal is to build a sustainable, future-fit neighborhood.
With this toolkit in hand, we now begin to spatialize this vision. The mobility plan reworks the bus network. It now includes a designated bus bay to reduce queuing time. A combination of compact raised and adequate intersections ensures safe pedestrian circulation and connection with shared streets. A section through this transit hub highlights last mile connectivity through IPT and cycles and designated on-street parkings. Next, we look at the governance plan. The governance plan creates a forum that sits at the intersection of public amenities. In this forum, spaces like the amphitheater allow people to get together and take action for their ward through campaigns, ward meetings, and citizen awareness events. A section through this central forum highlights collaborative spaces for the community, along with ecosystem services to ensure circularity. Next, we look at the community plan. The community plan makes spaces for food and street vending, a central park which can be used by women and the elderly, and an interactive school edge for children. A section through this school zone highlights tactical urbanism to engage children and to establish adjacencies of various programs during the day. The street edge is also lined with bioswales to aid in stormwater filtration. Now, looking at the implementation of the vision, as designers, we recognize the importance of collaboration in envisioning the future of our cities. By categorizing goals based on timeframes and involving diverse organizations, we can turn this vision into a reality. First, we look at our aspect of connect, where mobility systems can be enhanced if government transport bodies can come together with the support of NGOs and think tanks for their expertise and private organizations for their products. Second, BBMP already has feedback systems and initiatives such as open city data, startup cells, and awareness campaigns. Civic organizations such as WILAC and Sensing Local can be engaged to make these accessible to the world. To talk about the aspect of celebrate, organizations such as Sunday Saathi and artist group can help formalize existing community activities. Further, street toilets, subsidized canteens, etc. can be maintained with the support of resident welfare associations. So what will the ward finally look like? An unorganized and undefined large area, which is often encroached by haphazard parking, will now become a central transit junction with streamlined networks shared between wards. Next, an unsafe street with conflicting pedestrians and vehicles will now become a pedestrian-friendly zone for all that can transform throughout the day from being a safe school zone in the day and a food vending market in the evenings. Next would be an undefined intersection where neighborhood streets meet and the community activities like street vending takes place, which will now become a raised intersection with designated vending spaces, while also transitioning to a sustainable future. The last would be the central triangular island with the existing public amenities, which currently is a dead space, will now become a space for the people of Padarayanapura to voice an opinion, be heard, and take action. Join us to connect, collaborate, and celebrate, and build the vision of a People's Forum. Thank you.
Thank you, team. Sobia, maybe you can start with your questions.
Hi, sure. I mean, I'm happy to get the others to come in. I can make my notes later. No problem.
Sure. Chetan, could you begin?
Yes, sure. Thanks for a detailed presentation. I would like to ask two questions. So one, once you mentioned about the three toolkits, and you mentioned the involvement of a lot of different players to operate at different levels, short-term, medium-term, and long-term. How exactly do you imagine of all of this process to take place? Who would be the anchor of this entire conversation? Will it be any implementation agency, or you expect yourself as a part of this entire conversation of getting it through from the connect to celebrate entirely? And the second question would be, because you specifically talked about pedestrians and vehicles, if you were able to reduce conflict on the other parts rather than just the raised intersection.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah, I think I can answer the first part of the question, and the second part my colleague can take up. With regards to how we imagine the implementation of this, we do believe that as urban practitioners, we will play a central role in coordinating between various agencies, along with the BBMP, of course, to get them in touch with, of course, these agencies, and also create a detailed framework and a timeline for what interventions can be more immediate, what require larger implementation changes, and what are long-term goals. So, for example, if we look at wayfinding signages, putting bollards on streets, things like that, these are things that BBMP can do within the next few months itself. So we believe that since we have an overall sense of what the value systems are that we're looking for, we can direct this process and contact the necessary agencies to put them in touch at various stages.
Right. And I think to answer the second question, I think addressing the question of pedestrians has been the key sort of design challenge that we have taken throughout. So with the raised intersection, of course, because that's the junction where all the internal neighborhood streets are meeting. So that's where the pedestrian footfall is at the most. So that's where we've kind of proposed a raised intersection, if you can see in the plan. However, the other two intersections as well, we have kind of made sure that we're looking at a continuous pedestrian infrastructure with tabletop crossings, especially where the bus stop is. So we're looking at how someone using the bus stop will then take use access for last mile connectivity through cycles or auto rickshaws. So I think we've kind of looked at how a person would kind of move through site and access all of this on foot as our key goal while designing. So yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Hema, we can take your questions next. I think Hema will join us back. Naveen, we can take your questions next.
Yeah, I think with respect to two things again, problem solving and value addition, I think it's very well addressed, and I was hoping that the toolkit kind of translates into a master plan as well, and I think it does. And I think it was quite smart to reroute the bus, because that makes sense. I don't know if how the route is, how the bus is rerouted, but the idea itself should work. But the whole master plan hinges upon road widening. Now, how practical is it is something I'm not sure. But overall, I think it's a working scheme, bridging the gap of actually resolving the, making it work while, or how much of road widening can you do, how much you can't do, what are the local challenges. I think that's where the crux of your project lies. Where is it an academic project or it's an actual project for the site? That's the challenge. But otherwise, I think it's quite well resolved. But that's the thing that needs to be addressed.
Right. Anandita, I'll take this. So I think to answer, I think you pointed it out very well that that the bus route did have to change. We kind of looked at how the existing movement is, and then the bus currently would go front and back to kind of take that U-turn. And since this is also a bus stop, which is the first and the last stop, the bus also waits there for a good 10-15 minutes before they sort of leave. So we also kind of had to cater to the fact that maybe there would be two buses at one point who are waiting. So we need to have some space for queuing up as well. So we planned to reroute it through we created a signalized intersection here. If I can get a pointer, just a minute. Anyways,
no, bus routing is a right strategy. I'm
Right.
saying road widening, your whole master plan hinges on widening of roads. I don't know how
Correct.
practical is it as per site. That's my,
Right.
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying that's where the
Yeah.
challenge lies.
No, I fully agree with you.
Yeah.
So yeah, while we try to not touch the existing, we've broken the plinth from our design, but the existing structures, which are the public toilet and the canteen, we've kind of tried to retain that. So we're assuming that only the plinth would be kind of reduced, but of course there would be many more on-ground challenges with widening, and that is something we have.
I'm sure there are hawkers and all, no, where you've given the school zone. What happens there currently?
I'll just take this. One is that in the school zone, it's a very narrow footpath currently on site. There are temporal hawkers who come early in the morning and who come late in the night. So our school zone area is actually designed to be an adaptable space where during the day it can be meant for children and it become a safe school zone, while it can have designated spaces for vending in the evenings. That's how we imagined that. The other thing regarding the connecting street, which has been widened, we've actually retained the road width for all other major roads. We've actually equalized the right of ways and eventually reclaimed more space. So we've managed to streamline that entire process. The only street that required widening was the connection street between this road and where the buses are going to turn. So it was only in the central space. And here we found enough space to do it such that the structures are not affected. And as my colleague pointed out, it's only the plinth of those structures which will have to be broken. Of course, not denying that there will be definite implementation challenges to trying to do that. But we feel that that's the most efficient way in which we can resolve the mobility issues here.
Thanks. Satya, we can take your questions next.
How much time we are left with?
We have about 4 minutes.
Okay. Congratulations on a very confessional presentation. You are confessing, saying yes, road widening is a challenge. Yes, it's going to be difficult, which is very nice because typically the designer's mind always works on defending than really trying to accept. Congratulations. And what you have done takes me back by around 37 years when we were trying to give proposals for the immediate lane after the Ghats in Varanasi, one of the most impossible places for an urban designer can ever work. So we gave this similar kind of proposals for about 15-20 nodes along the path, which is immediately behind the Ghat in those days. They were not implemented, it's a different issue. But wanted to come with impossible solutions for the impossible contexts. But you know what one enjoyed was dreaming. What one enjoyed was, well, if there is will and money, maybe this can be done. So this is a very exact case like that. If there is a willpower, if there is money, if everybody cooperates, well, it can be done. However, having said that, something else now. Since most of them, this very, very personal opinion, it can be contested. Even the other jurors may not agree with me. Personally, I believe nowadays, in the case of India, in most often cases, I personally believe in the minimum intervention approach. The existing, whatever is existing, one is not saying is great and heavenly. No, they are not heavenly. But the existing is self-managed, there are certain rules and unwritten rules and regulations by which it works. When we erase that existing and we create the new, the image, we don't know really how well it works. So I'm speaking more from a theoretical portion right now. So I have some reservations about this working extremely well, because again, some of the issues which we have been seeing right now, be it garbage or parking. See, also remember one thing, some of the issues happening now are also happening because of lack of urban management. I mean, this is not to blame anybody. I know BBMP people are here, engineers are here. We all know our living context. We have to live with our imperatives. So the kind of urban management which we may find in Germany or America is missing in India. So we have to live with it. Now, what we have shown to me appears as if it's something which will require even more greater urban management than what's happening at the moment. And also, on a very quick look, it appears to be having lots of interventions, a lot of interventions. Some of them are well thought out, no doubt about it. But if one can rationalize these interventions, minimize it to some extent, and then immediately the practicality of the solution will increase. Right now, doing all this is very difficult, and all have been agreeing. So there are possibilities in this of minimizing the interventions to some extent, and keeping some of the good ideas which are already in this at the moment, and see how it can be implemented. But at the moment, the managerial issues, implementability issues, practical issues are a little on the lower side. Ideation, phenomenally high. Keep it up. I stop here.
So could I make a comment to that question?
No, I'm just saying what came to my mind, to my heart and mind.
No, actually, I mean, we did realize that there is a lot to be achieved in the kind of master plan we have proposed, which is why we're looking at a time frame in the implementation strategy. We have done things that can be done short term, and then you can do trials through tactical urbanism. You can make ask the community to get involved, get their feedback, audit the system, which is why we're also saying get in organizations like WRI to participate in this process, audit these systems and see how much is possible. We're understanding that there may be a lot of things that cannot be achieved, but if there is a vision to do this, then maybe we can get even to like 70% of this.
Amen. Let there be the vision.
Thank you, team. We're out of time. Can I request 290654 to go next?
Let's share everything. It's just this. Hi, is my screen visible?
Yes, it's visible.
All right.
I don't know how to.
Good evening to everyone present here. We are team 290654. We will be presenting our vision for Padarayanapura titled JJ Adda. The concept of placekeeping emphasizes the importance of authentic urban design by including local citizens, local government and non-government bodies, while keeping in mind distinctiveness and character of a place. Padarayanapura boasts a variety of stakeholders and factors playing a vital role in forming the character of a place. The proposal is an intersection of community plus commerce, plaza plus play, and movement plus mobility. This slide showcases the existing site conditions and the analysis of the issues of the place. Three core issues have been identified, which are chaotic movement, urban residues, and blurred boundaries. These core issues raise several other symptoms, such as choking of pedestrian movement, wasted space, garbage accumulation, indecent public behavior, and so on. The proposed master plan incorporates the following urban level strategies in three ways: channelized movements, transit zones, plaza, and their defined paths. The first design strategy was to reorganize vehicular movement. The Padarayanapura bus stand plays a crucial part in connecting different wards and areas around the site. The proposal ensures the current connections to the city are maintained, and a dedicated bus lane with an appropriate turning radius has been designed to accommodate 3 to 4 buses at a time. The bus lane has been optimized and pushed to the eastern edge of the site. By segregating the bus movement and the other modes of transportation, One ensures smooth traffic flow and improved accessibility to the neighborhood, which declutters the road network and allows for the formation of the plaza. The proposed bus movement, vehicular movement, and auto lanes are marked in different colors. The second strategy involves allocating different modes of transportation, such as a bus stand, auto stand, and a Yulu bike service at the edges of the plaza. It also includes designated parking spaces and pedestrian crossings to ensure smooth mobility and convenience. Strategy 3 defines sections of the plaza with optimized road network. The diagram shows activated zones assigned to different agencies. This slide shows the master plan and the various programs it holds. The site is an urban relief space, a large open space that the community has access to at all times of the day. The plaza is multifunctional and aims to act as the backdrop of everyday activities. The plaza is defined by its stakeholders and their involvement. The primary stakeholders consist of existing vendors using makeshift structures over the years. These vendors are now sheltered in an amenities block, which would provide for a long-term sustainable commerce. The amenities block would also have toilets and also houses the bus stand. The amenities block has a repetitive structural grid and has a minimal footprint. An amphitheater abuts it towards the plaza, offering resting space during occasions and everyday use. This defines the eastern edge of the plaza. Towards the north, the school and the police station can spill out to the plaza. On the western edge of it, parking and auto stand doubling as a west wall act as a buffer between the bar and the plaza, ensuring social security. Towards the south, the Indra canteen and the Nandini booth are retained, further activating the plaza. All the trees have been retained and a few more have been added for shade and comfort, while two high mast lights are also retained that illuminate the square and its surroundings. This slide shows the various sections of the plaza. Access road to the neighborhood is of 7 meters. The main road has been reconfigured to be 12 meters. The bus lane is wide enough to accommodate 2 buses side by side. The roof of the amenity block is partially accessible, which provides scope of expansion during events. The following slides will show existing and proposed views of the site. This is of the current bus roundabout. The same view shows variation of plinths in accordance to the natural gradation of land between the school on the left and the auto stand on the right. The material of the plaza is thought to be of concrete grass pavers. Existing view from the north, from the narrow street into the next to the Indra canteen. The view shows the reconfigured road and plaza on both sides, along with the folly acting as a visual anchor to the I'll just start over this. The view shows the reconfigured road and plaza on both sides, along with the folly acting as a visual anchor to the place next to the Indra canteen. A playful multifunctional folly acting as an auto stand, a relief for auto drivers, an elevated platform to hoist the flag. The folly is thought of to be made of exposed concrete. View of the site currently from the narrow road. View showing plinth in front of the shops and urban furniture of ferro cement along the auto stand. View from the alley in the south. View showing the seating integrated to the residential alleyway. This is another view of the site. The view emphasizes the amenities block as a marker for the neighborhood, contributing to the revitalization of dead spaces along the road edge.
So the following slides show how the proposed plazas could be used under different circumstances. Retail and its spillout, Angadi Mattu Horangada. The shops and its frontages enable one to have a sense of ownership, thereby assisting its maintenance and also greater relief space for the customers. hawker activities, vyapara chatuvatiಕೆಗಳು. The open area of the central plaza enables hawkers to informally occupy the space, thereby providing a dedicated zone to generate revenue. Canteen hours. The lower plaza adjoining the Nandini booth and the Indira canteen accommodates an outdoor dining space during the canteen hours. School and its foreground. Shale mattu adara angala. Upper plinth of the central plaza serves as an extended playground for the school during school hours and as a neighborhood play area afterwards. The folly on the west facilitates celebrations during events like Kannada Rajyotsava and Eid. The amphitheater adjoining the amenities block can help hosting cultural events, thereby transforming the plaza into a proscenium at different scales. This slide shows the typical scenario in the proposed intervention on a usual day. The aerial view provides a comprehensive comparison between the current state and the proposed design, showcasing the integration of efficient transport, space optimization, minimal footprint, and plinth sensitivity. At this, we would like to conclude the presentation by saying this project is an engagement between transit, commerce, community, and play. The plaza is ultimately and primarily a placekeeper. Thank you.
Thank you, team. Hema, maybe we can start with your questions.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah. It's nice presentation what they have done. One thing is you have made one way of the vehicle of the bus route.
One way as in, ma'am?
Means you have taken in front, like the bus is coming, whatever the present it's coming, you just blocked there and it's been turning by itself before the circle, so that you are making the space for the plaza.
Ma'am, sorry, your voice is breaking. Could you repeat the question?
The way the bus turn, what actually you have taken.
Yes.
Is it like whatever the present existing, you have just taken further of it, what actually it is?
Yes, so the intervention actually includes us kind of segregating the bus circulation from the plaza. So we are kind of getting a lot more plaza space that way. And this has been kind of worked out in a way that we also have two buses that can go side by side in case of a congestion. So which is shown in a dotted line in the master plan.
Okay. What is the space that is available for the plaza now?
The plaza near the bus or the
plaza, the center plaza.
Yeah, so in the middle there's easily about say 35 meters from west to east, and from north to south there is about 55 meters available.
How do you avoid any vendors to come inside this plaza and do their
So we would like to have the hawkers come into the space. It's a democratic space, and also the existing vendors at site have the option of renting out smaller shops in the amenity block. So that way they get a roof over their head and they have a sense of permanency. Right now they're using makeshift structures.
So you're making the roof on the top.
Ma'am, can you come again?
You're proposing the roof on the top?
The roof on the top will be accessible during events or occasions.
Okay, but this is like vendor space only. What actually you are?
The plaza is, yes.
Yeah, the plaza is. Yes, and also
not just
going along with the natural contours, because it is also divided into two levels, plinth levels there. So a lot of vendor activity can also be controlled in different events. So it can either be in the lower plaza, while the upper plaza can be used for different activities, which we have tried to demonstrate using these visuals.
Satya, we can take your questions. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks. Again, another very interesting scheme with a lot of ideation. And it can be done, just like earlier scheme, this also can be done. Needs certain vision, budgeting, people's cooperation. The idea of the plaza is definitely a fabulous idea. The only concern is, this overall area available to us at around 28,000 square feet or so. It's on the brief also says extended area is around 35,000 square feet or whatever square meters as well. So one was just wondering, what is that real area available for all these spaces? Because in a drawing, one cannot really get the scale and the size of the spaces. Maybe valid enough, I'm not sure. That's one has written about. Secondly, there is a kind of an aesthetics, a little European kind of aesthetics, which of course already coming into Indian streets. Even Delhi is now trying to create European kind of streets in Delhi, and Bangalore has already been doing it. So to some extent, well, sorry to say it again, personal opinions, one often feels that some of the urban interventions are letting us not realize the strengths of Indian urban design, whatever it may be. At the moment, we will not go into that. So there's an attempt, while there's a phenomenal amount of the activities are being fairly well organized, but there's also an overemphasis on aesthetic in this. To me, it appears like that. The other point I've written is the so-called plaza levels and the plinth levels and the building levels, because a couple of buildings, at least those two private buildings, which are in northern part, they no more get the road access because we are cancelling the road. Oh, that's a very clever move, I should say. Very clever move to look at the overall as an integrated one and introduce the bus stand. And the turning radius issue, which Hemalata asked once earlier, once again, that was another issue with this bus thing around. But this actually increases the road crossing issues with more people to be brought into the so-called semi-island. It's not a full island, but a semi-island. So there are a lot of people moving in and across the road. That was another issue which one wrote about in this, in the sense even for the normal public facility, also including Nandini and all, there'll be much more of road crossing happening here. Well, there are a few more points, some minor, some major, but let me stop here. Well, there are a lot of interesting thoughts in the scheme. Implementability wise, well, there are certain issues, but I assume it can be relooked at. I stop here.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, no need to respond. It's just observations.
So there we can take your questions and comments next.
Sure. I think both the schemes, this and the previous one, have thought a bit differently about the circulation, and knowing the site, it's, I think, required because also we have a lot of public space here and public land, so we do have, I think, the flexibility to do a lot of this. I would like to just understand, looking at where you did the bus turning, and that's a bit crucial, we can come to the public space. Did you think about how it would work if it was a proper roundabout? Right now, if you go to the diagram that has your bus route, just the lines you've drawn, no? The red lines for the bus movement. Yeah. So here there will be point of conflict because you have the yellow line that is conflicting there. So looking at this as a roundabout versus in one corner, doing it almost as a part island, would be, I think, or could help with resolving this, which I feel is something that I don't know if you did consider just making the whole thing a roundabout instead, right? A circle roundabout. So even the traffic that's going, which otherwise is cutting across the bus in two places, is actually going along with the bus. And please give me your thoughts if you all have thought of that as a circulation pattern. The other thing, which it will definitely be overcrowded by vendors. I think if you would have walked around the ward and seen how many vendors out there, there is definitely no limit to how many vendors can come. I can assure you that even with doing of the platforms, right? I want to understand if you looked at any other activity or any other need that came up from the citizens that could take place in a space like this. That's one. And the second is if it does have, like, uncontrolled vending does overtake this platform, any strategies to be able to manage, reduce, or demarcate it or contain it through design, of course.
Okay, ma'am. I'll answer the first part of the question. So initially we did think about a roundabout having coming in contact with the main road there, but some of the issues that we faced was actually then it kind of creates a bottleneck at that junction. So we felt that it would lead to a lot more traffic congestions than kind of negotiating with the bus turning radius there, which is why we kind of kind of came to this scheme wherein it's kind of also keeping the road wide while still negotiating the bus, because one thing that we observed at site was the buses that are plying into the site is not on a very regular basis, as in during the day the number of buses, kind of the frequency reduces. So which is why we took this call of having an intervention like this for the bus bay.
Okay.
That doing such a move, this design move helps us to have a larger plaza which integrates itself with the school and the police station. So that's an added advantage from a roundabout system like this.
No, I mean, it is going to create traffic conflict. That was the only reason. Even now, the way it is, it does create traffic conflict, which is what I wanted to raise.
Yeah. And coming to the second part of the questions about the vendor movement. So one of the ideas of having a western edge kind of cordoning off was to kind of reduce that. But apart from this, there would definitely be the necessity of secondary measures like bollards and all of that to control the vendor movement into the plaza. Probably, I think we could have gone a step further and also defined from where the vendor movement is happening, probably through one entry or one exit point that way. So that is something we could have explored.
Okay.
And, we're out of time, unfortunately. We'd like to move on to the next team now.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Team 290667.
Yeah, hi. Shall I share my screen?
Yes, please.
Okay. Is it visible?
Yes, it is.
Okay, hi. Good evening, all the respected jury and the other contestants. My application ID is 290667. And as per the site introduction from the team and the previous presentation, we are very much aware about the site now. It is a culmination of the Chodappa Road and the entry of the Padarayanapura neighborhood, which is commonly referred as a Padarayanapura circle right now. So the unique trapezoidal part of this.
If you are presenting, it's not showing actually. It's not moving. Your slides are not moving. Your slides are not moving. Okay. So now it's just on a static screen.
Also, it's not full screen if you're thinking it's full.
I am having a full screen here. Can I share it again?
Yes, please do. It's not showing.
Okay. Is it moving now?
Yeah, we're on the second slide now.
Yes, we are on the second slide. So the unique formation of the trapezoidal shape of this land divides the continuous traffic, which is on these heavy traffic movement road, from the internal neighborhood traffic, and allow the pedestrian oriented activities to thrive inside the area. So which allows the space to function like an exclusive neighborhood which is inside. So as clearly visible in the drawing, due to the overlapping of the different mode of transportation, a lot of conflict area is happening in certain areas like which are shown in red marks. And if we map the pedestrian movement of a different user group who are available in the neighborhood, they are majorly on the edges, but the edges are encroached by the different on-street activities like vending, parking, garbage dumping, and unauthorized auto stands, etc. So if you see the sections majorly, these red portions are almost like
The
garbage
sections
dumping,
are still not
parking.
seen.
The slide is not changing.
Yeah, I think we are again stuck to the
Oh.
primary screen. We are not seeing your shared screen. We are seeing your presentation, which is not in full screen.
It is a full screen actually on my laptop.
Maybe you can
I
run a
think
screen share.
remove the full screen and just walk us through your presentation as is. Maybe that will help.
But that is some animation happen. Animation is there in the PPT, so maybe this won't help. Is this moving now?
We can't see your full screen.
Would you like us to present?
Yes, if you can.
Okay. Nidhi, could you open up their presentation, please?
Yeah, I have it. I'm just going to press. Cue me on when you want me to move the slides.
Okay, sure. We can directly jump to
Is
the
this
slide
visible?
2.
Yeah. Is this visible?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Again, it's not full screen. No? Now it's full screen, yes.
Oh.
Yeah. So this is what I next. Next.
Yeah, just give me a minute.
And certain user movement. If we talk about the user movement in the area, they are on the edges, but they are encroached by the different on-site activities, what we have already shown, we are already seeing in this photograph. Next. Next.
Yeah, sorry, it's taking a while.
Okay. So the edges are encroached by the different on-street activities like vending, parking, garbage dump, and the unauthorized auto stands, etc. Next. Which can be clearly seen in this sections, like if it is a major roads or internal area where the unauthorized parking are happening actually in the middle of the road, and in the small street also there are vendor encroachment and parking, which leads to unorganized pedestrian movement. Next. So the edges are very active and having conflict with a lot of activities together, but there are certain underutilized open space which are there in the area and which is existing on site, and some of them are actually unapproachable. Next. So after the physical analysis of this site, the focus of the analysis was also on the issue raised by the stakeholders, and based on the stakeholder interviews and findings from the on-site workshop what we have attended, we found there are 4 major points or aspects to be considered. So there, what they have already asked for these list of the things what they want in the stakeholder workshop. From this, what we have considered, there are 4 points we have considered. One is enhancing the value of open space, inclusive street design with dedicated pedestrian movement, dedicated space for existing activities like vending, parking, bus stand, location, etc., and carving out the new opportunity. Next. So the carving out the new opportunity, which is a recreational area for all age group. Next. If we see the existing circulation pattern, the neighborhood is not connecting the main Hushali road directly. It is connected with very small narrow lane, which is again have so many yellow dots. A lot of open space is underutilized. Next. The triangular activity land island is dividing the space into 2. Next. Next. So one large chunk of open space can be carved out from these kind of neighborhood. Next. So what we have considered is we have considered the 9-meter neighborhood road to be connected with the 15-meter of primary road, which is Soshali road, to be connected. And this primary road can be designed with evenly road section of a 15-meter where you have pathways at both the sides. And there is a huge proposed urban plaza can be carved out from this underutilized open spaces. Next. So this plaza or this activity can be divided by proposing the level difference in the plaza where the existing activities like pathway, bus stand, canteen, dairy, public toilet, auto stands, vendor zone can be utilized on the periphery, and the plaza where we have to provide a new kind of activity or recreational activity can be planned with certain kind of level difference in a sunken plaza. Next. So this is what the overall scheme or master plan is. So vision of the design is active precinct with placekeeping to establish street and open space as one experiential public realm, which offers citizens to use all mode of public transport, including walking with safe and dependable community experience, which create an image of a place by next. By restructuring the street network. Next. Rearranging the existing activity on the edge. And third, next. Creating the or introducing the recreational plaza, which is a sunken plaza. Next slide. So the restructured program includes existing activities and proposed recreational activity, which can be smartly segregated by the place, segregated by placing them in a different level. So if you see the major road, then a bus stand, then some sunken plaza for playing and recreational activity for users, because there are a lot of school and college going children and neighborhood children can play here safely due to this level difference. So give visual connectivity and reduce the pressure of encroachment. Next. So the plaza design includes universal accessibility, as we have also have the ramp and the stairs. So it's a universal accessibility and barrier-free design of a sunken plaza, which more than 30% of the surface of the sunken plaza can be a softscape for rainwater penetration into the land. And the steps around the plaza segregate the activity as well as become the seating space for the stakeholders, because in the interview, a lot of stakeholders wanted the senior citizen and they wanted certain space where they can have a kind of cultural hub. So the overall activities are divided as per this intensity of activity. For example, the bus station or bus stand and auto stand are placed at the main road for accessibility. Next. Play area at the sunken level, sunken plaza, can be accessed from all the continuous pedestrian pathway. Next. Seating area along the compound wall of the college and the school, police station compound wall. And last, the vending zone at the edge of the neighborhood, where it can be accessible from the neighborhood thoroughly. So this slide shows how the unused space or underutilized space can be utilized by a design intervention like this. Next. So by providing a positive, well-defined and unique public space will create a positive and associational feeling to its citizen, which make them wants to stay in the neighborhood. And the plaza design reflects the character and culture of the precinct around, because in certain stakeholder interview, they were actually talking about historic time where they had lot of play area and playgrounds in the area which are not there right now. So this can be reflects the character and culture of the precinct, and they can be so that's why this area can be named, or this proposal can be named as a Janasthala, which is space for a public. Next. Yes, this is it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Chetan, maybe we can begin with your questions and comments.
Yes, sure. So one of the things I would like to say is it is also similar to the previous project, an ambitious project by itself. Like it's a lot of intervention, mainly change in the precinct as we're expecting. I had two big concerns. One concern because you're talking about the vehicular management that you talked about, you should have looked at a little larger level network than focusing just in the area, which would have maybe improved your overall understanding of the movements, because currently the bus movement, taking a U-turn and managing to be at the bus stop as you're mentioning, could be a concern overall with the vehicular movement that you're talking. And that would add to the risk of pedestrian crossing, as Satyaprakash sir mentioned about the earlier project, because yours is the same space that you're taking and the bus is taking U-turn through that entire route where the pedestrians are about to cross would be one of the biggest conflict. The second concern is about the Sunken Plaza itself. When you talk about Sunken Plaza, already Bangalore has a, in a way, problem of recently larger problem of water getting accumulated, and you're adding to it by creating this kind of Sunken Plaza. There is existing site level undulations, but this is adding more to it. And within that plaza, adding a basketball court is a huge limitation, because if you're talking about a lot of community engagement, maybe one sport, maybe mandating one particular sport for that area to be used for that sport. Maybe it could have come from the surveys that it's not just one sport, right? People were talking about more activities. You yourself mentioned about that, a lot of recreational area. So it's a concern. But apart from that, a good attempt to do something and good representation as well. Good effort onto that.
Thank you. Can I? Yes, there is. I feel there is a limitation on the bus circulation. What we feel, so that I accept that there is a limitation of having only one bus stand only at one side, or shelter only at one side, and your bus has to take a U-turn for the same. So that can be taken care if in the further process. This for the sports or recreational activity, what I feel is this can be just a kind of exhibit of what Sunken Plaza can have. It can have other activities too, maybe. So this is a kind of ideal situation where you can have this much larger scale of sports. You can accommodate in that. So that is only a depiction and not the proposal that only this sports only can be accommodated in that. So this is just to give a scale of that plaza. And about the waterlogging situation, we might take this surface or soft surface as a not a water retention, but can be water penetration system of the overall plaza, because there is a plaza which is having a hardscape. So in that case, it also have to drain the water into to certain extent to somewhere. So maybe some system below the softscape can be installed for the water.
So maybe you could have thought of groundwater recharge or whatever.
Yes.
That
yes.
part is remaining in the proposal.
Yes, it is remaining. Yes.
Yeah.
Agree.
Thanks. Hema, we can take your questions and comments next.
One thing I know.
Yes.
Yes.
The plan, what actually you have done is that you have removed the Indira canteen from the present and you have shifted, right?
Yes, it is on the same edge, but it is shifted. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, that is one of the biggest challenge for the implementation and all. That is one. And secondly, the vendor accommodation is also not found. Like for the plaza thing, what you are given, because there are a lot of vendors activity that is there.
Ma'am, it is already there on the extreme north side where it is near to the neighborhood area, but maybe the scale of that given area can be relooked.
And the access for the police station. I couldn't see that access also. There's a pathway, what actually it is there. And
yes, it is a pathway.
How actually the vehicle go there? That is also I couldn't see. That was two observations what we saw when you are presenting.
Just a second, ma'am.
You can just share the screen.
Yes, yes, ma'am. So if you see my cursor, this is an entry for the college and this is an entry for the police station.
Your shared screen shows only not the full screen part.
No, it's
Again,
not.
the same problem. Yeah.
Would you like me to share again? If you could just point
It's
me
not.
to
It's not.
It is slide 9.
So that's fine. It's on slide 9.
Okay.
You can go ahead to explain. It was on slide 9.
Ma'am, it is only a pedestrian access to the college and the police station area.
Can we move on then? I think Hema, that's what is.
Sure. Naveen, you could maybe ask your questions or comments.
Yeah, my main thing is the whole design problem revolves around how does the bus turn around and yet have a safe space. I don't think that's addressed at all, and I think that was one of the main issues of the site. Otherwise, everything else is secondary for me. Once the problem solving is done is when we can discuss value addition. But yeah, that's the main thing. Where does it turn around?
Actually, yes, there is a flaw that the bus has to take a U-turn for the visit of the opposite side. So yes, we can work around that. You may have a bus stand on both the side, maybe.
Yeah, that had to be addressed.
Yes.
We have time for one last question. Satya, would you like to come in?
Yeah. Again, not a question, but some quick observations around. Already people have said what I wanted to say, ambitious, etc. But as an approach, it does not look like an urban intervention. It looks like a new design altogether to me. If there were to be a new neighborhood, this could be implemented. And one of the problem in this is also what Patrick Geddes faced back in 1930s also when he proposed what was then called as conservative surgery. He would look at a certain urban area and he would suggest a certain area where there are problems, blight, etc., to be completely erased, to completely removed, and he would give a new proposal. Of course, he was invited by the Maharajas and we thought it could be implemented. But today, already Hemalata have commented, it's very difficult to do that, completely knocking off everything. So that is another practical issues which are in this area. Bus movement, of course, already a big challenge, and also the overall costing, the practicality, and how well one really appreciates the fact that the big wish list of stakeholders meeting, problem identification sheets were shown as part of presentation, but does not really necessarily answer that. It simply says they will no more exist by bringing in this new design. So there is a kind of a wish list approach in this happening around, but there are some good ideas which possibly can be picked from this as well. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thanks for your comments. I'd like to hand over to Vidya for closing comments.
I'd like to thank all the participants for presenting, and I'd like to thank all of the jurors for your very valuable inputs. I request the participants to please drop off the call, but the jurors kindly stay back. We have a few more points to discuss before